Ulyana, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I have to say that I was really inspired by the fact you reached out to me to share your story, because your story is one which is quite epic, especially being based where you are. So before we go any further, let's talk about that. Where are you based in the world? Where is your glamping site based?
Our glamping and camping pitch is based in Ukraine, which is for now in most news feeds known as the place of war. Luckily enough, Ukraine is very big, so we are located in the western part of Ukraine, which is closer to Polish border, which means we are really far from the actual front line. It's like more than 1,000 kilometers. But definitely, as the whole world, and we especially are affected by the war. And the story today is like that we actually launched the first season of our camping business was started during the wartime. So it was like 2 months after the actual war started here. But definitely the main idea of having us at the podcast, and I'm so excited that you have us. Thank you for that opportunity. Is more to talk about Ukraine as a location not only of the war, as we, most people wouldn't know where Ukraine is, although we are a big country in the middle of Europe. But now a lot of people know about Ukraine, but know because of the negative effect, right? Because of war. So my story would be kind of more inspiring people. So there's like no perfect time to start your dream, right? So good things can happen even if it's a worst day of your life, and also maybe to talk about Ukraine as a big country, as a country rich of natural resources. We have nice mountains, we have welcoming people. So maybe the day when the war would end, and we'll live our normal lives.
It's really interesting because in my time working with lots of different businesses, business owners like yourself, helping them set up and go through that whole process, all the steps that are needed to set the business up. I've always talked to them about what's been your biggest challenge so far, what's been your biggest barriers so far. And I have to say, I've never, ever come across somebody that war is one of the biggest challenges. But absolutely amazing that you still persevered, you continued regardless, you had your dream, you knew what you wanted for your family, and you've carried on.
The year we launched the campaign and the war started, I just gave birth to my third daughter. So she was actually 2 months old when we started. And yeah, this is a big family. This is, well, we and my husband, we don't call it a business, right? We call it a dream, and that's actually what it is. And I think this is how it started, and that's why we kind of keep going it no matter what, because we initially decided that we'll be flexible with this decision, and this is kind of a dream come true, because we believe that camping business and actually being outside outdoors is a healing part of our daily routine. Being able to live in a tent and make a fire, and also all this kind of bonding together, and be a friendly person, etc. So this is kind of like where it started. But also my parents were both an alpinists, and we were also raised as a kids that we were usually having our best time outside. So we were biking, we were going to mountains, we were hiking, we were skiing, and this is the life approach that we share with our kids. So they also go to the ski school, and we usually go to ski. They have bikes, and as they grow up with all the technologies and all the online world, it's very important for us as a parents to show them that there's a lot of world outside of online. And I know that there is a time that they will stick to cartoons, and we need that silent time too. But also I do enjoy the idea that when we are out, like they are busy all the time. they have their sticks. I don't know. They're dirty, but they are happy and they're tired. We will definitely be evolving with some kind of activities for this year. We will invite a person to do some kind of master class to make something with kids. We have a really nice summer holiday, which is Ivana Kupala. It's kind of a mix of religious and before the religious times, but it's all about summer. It's all about making a huge fire. It's all about bonding with nature. Right. So you make this grass crown, and at the end of the evening, you put those crowns on the river, and they should like swim off. So there's a lot of traditional mixes in there, but that's a really beautiful holiday. And I really wanted to make it last year, but that was not a good time. But this year I definitely want to show my kids this holiday, because that's really beautiful. So definitely all the activities we thought that we'll have on our page would be more closer to nature. So maybe something doing with your hands, maybe some kind of pottery. So not the usual activities you have on the, I don't know, trade center or something where you go with the kids. So there's a lot of ideas that need a lot of maybe investments, but we kind of see it like, let's take one step at a time. And if we have people that visited us last year and they come this year as well, that would be a huge win for us. And if you can surprise them with at least minor improvements during the time that they were not visiting us, that's already a big win for us in the circumstances that we are now.
Absolutely. And do you think that people are ready now to start celebrating those regular events that you would normally have celebrated before the war, but now do you think they're ready to start emerging from all of, I suppose, a bit of the trauma of it all?
This is such a difficult question to answer about the point of celebration. And this is something we are struggling for the last year, the whole year, because there's no time for celebration, right? But at the other hand, there's a lot of traditions that we want to keep and we want to show our kids. And the thing that we are fighting for right now, it being able to speak our language, to have our traditions, and to teach our kids the same that we were taught, right? So this is we are fighting for. This is our friends are dying right now on the front line, and you can say that, well, we can stop celebrating Easter or start celebrating some kind of events for, okay, let's say 2 years, 5 years. But my middle daughter is 5 years old, so for her a 2 year period is half of her life. I cannot stop her life for 2 years, and this is the idea why actually we keep going, right? We keep working, we keep having our daily routines and daily traditions because of our kids, because they deserve to have a normal life. And at my opinion, or what's my excuse for that, I would say that I'm doing this for my kids. I want them to remember this year or that summer not by what happened to us. They will definitely remember it. They will learn it in books, but also to have their memories of their own, that they had an Easter and they had a Christmas, and they have a lot of their national holidays. They still keep having that in schools and in kindergartens. They learn poems, right? Because that is important. that's the life they're living. And I think that's if we understand that it's not much of celebration, but that's keeping off a tradition, then this is important, and we need to stick to it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really lovely way of explaining it. And I think that what you're doing with your business and how you've set that up is amazing, because you're opening up the potential for other people to do things that mean that they are creating some level of normality for their family and to create those beautiful memories, lifetime memories that are so important for their children and everyone growing up. And as you said, for the very young ones, I mean, I've got young children as well, and the same thing, you know, a couple of years go by and it's a lot of their life, isn't it? And it's very formative, and to be closed down and not to be going anywhere and not to be knowing what it's like to enjoy nature and enjoy being nurtured by nature
Right.
is yeah, a tricky one. And so the fact that you're opening it up to people and allowing them to access it, especially with their pets as well, is really fantastic. And so what would you say to other people either in the Ukraine or in other parts of Europe, in other parts of the world? What would you say to inspire them, having gone through it all yourself and now that you've got your business up and running and you've got these big dreams for the future?
I think that I would say that don't stop dreaming, right? And there's like no perfect time to establish something, because you can wait for that perfect time. It will never come. There's always something that will stop you, some fears, some risks, whatever you name it. If you truly believe in what you want or what you think you want, just do it. Just try as much as you can, and that will happen. And I think the main idea is here, to not to be a perfectionist, right? Because why I really admire the idea of camping and glamping, because this is kind of like maybe a bad analogy about an old bar, or a pub, right? You cannot build it right away, with that atmosphere, right? This is something that comes with time. The furniture is old and rubbed and etc. And the same is here. You cannot set where people will go, or like where's the best place to put this table, or this hammock. This is something that comes with time, because you need to see how the sun goes up, and where people really enjoy to having a rest, or they don't like it, you'll put something up there and no one sits in there. So this is comes in time. Don't stress to make a perfect scenery, because camping and glamping, I believe this is something that helps you evolve with time, right? It's like, you'll put a tree, and in 5 years it will be a nice shade, right? So you need to invest that.
Well, I think it's really inspirational what you've just said there. And I also noted down another thing that you said earlier, which is when you said, we don't call it a business, we call it a dream. And I think that's fantastic. I think for anyone else who's listening and thinking, oh, these challenges, all these barriers in the way, I can't do what I'm dreaming of doing. And you're showing us by your actions that actually you can do those things. You just need to maybe approach it in a slightly different way, tweak and change and evolve and develop over time. And I think that's really inspirational, and also, you know, gives us all very valuable lessons to learn from. I really do appreciate it very much that you got in touch with me and wanted to share your story, because this kind of thing I find incredibly enriching to my own life, to understand and learn how people have used glamping as a way of improving not only their own family's life, but the lives of other people around them who really do need it at times of challenge.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I must say that your podcast and your courses are a lot of inspiration for us as well, because we were studying a lot of information before actually jumping in that kind of business. And I would suggest to anyone who's actually looking for an extra information, this is a good start. So thank you for having us, for responding. It was kind of a really surprise, because it's like, hey, teacher in the famous podcast I've been listening to. Uh, but yeah, anything can happen. As I said, it was just a try.
Absolutely. And you make your own future so often. It's often all you need to do is step outside of your comfort zone and actually write that email or pick
Yeah.
up that telephone or get in touch in some way. That's the way to do it. That's you step outside of your comfort zone, and that is where the most growth happens. So thank you so much again for coming today. It's been a great pleasure.